Belinda and Harper Audio Australia present this unabridged recording of Mean Streak, written and read by Rick Morton. For the many in the maze. Imagine having to prove for insurance purposes that your wife is not a dolphin. And no matter how many photos of her doing chin-ups and playing video games with her thumbs you provide, the insurance company keeps saying, yes, but then why did she visit SeaWorld? Robert Skinner. I'd rather not. Clevenger was guilty, of course, or he would not have been accused, and since the only way to prove it was to find him guilty, it was their patriotic duty to do so. Joseph Heller. Catch-22.
Many of the individuals mentioned in this book dispute the findings of the Royal Commission as it relates to their role, knowledge of illegality or actions, or failure to act. Comment was sought and received from various individuals. The listener is encouraged to listen to the final section of this book that contains comments received by the author or publisher before publication, as well as a selection of other public statements.
Prologue. The letters were sent by the thousand and arrived in mailboxes and at addresses across Australia, beginning in 2015. Many of these addresses were long since abandoned by the people the government thought were living there. It was something of a lottery, the whole thing, whether the letters would ever get to the person they were meant to get to, whether that person would understand what they were looking at, and ultimately, whether the Australian government could spook enough people to scam them out of billions of dollars. Rhys Corso received his first letter, dated 12th May 2016. We are writing to you about your employment income, it read. We have received information from the Australian Taxation Office, ATO, that shows your employment income recorded with the ATO is not the same as the amount of employment income declared for Centrelink purposes. The letter showed 4 separate employment earnings amounts across more than 3 years, totaling $47,169. When he was on an unemployment benefit, Corso was required to report any income he earned in each fortnight to Centrelink, which he did. Nobody had to report income when not in receipt of a benefit, and so Rhys didn't. Now the government was saying the numbers didn't match. In the trial of this new welfare compliance system, people like Rhys had a clear direction in their letter. They were to call Centrelink and confirm their income details. In later versions of this scheme, there was no phone call. It all had to be done online, without the help of a human being. For Rhys, the letter said, if you do not call us by 2nd June 2016, we will update your details based on the information we have received from the ATO. This may result in a debt that you will need to repay. If this occurs, we will send you a letter to let you know. Rhys must have phoned Centrelink to see what on earth this letter even meant, because when he rang his mum, Jenny Miller, he told her he had a $10,000 debt. He was extremely stressed and scared of his suicidal thoughts, Miller told an eventual Royal Commission. Miller wouldn't find out until after her son had killed himself more than half a year later that he had already made an attempt after receiving the Centrelink letters by cutting his throat. The pressure on Rhys was enormous. Moments as big as this and as small as bureaucratic frustration were being repeated across the country. Though we now understand the vast design of the scheme created to bilk people for debts they never actually owed, this was all brand new at the time. Each person who opened a letter or discovered too late that a letter had been sent to an old address did so alone. Their instinct would either be that something had gone wrong and it would be an administrative nightmare to fix it, or that the government knew what it was doing and that they, as an individual, must have made some kind of mistake. In any case, the unequalled might of government say-so met people one by one, found them alone, and resolved to keep them that way. Confusion was a key element of the system. The as-yet anonymous crafters of this debt rattle had counted quite literally.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?